Dear friends, for many years the most common weight loss advice has revolved around a simple formula. To lose weight, you must eat fewer calories than you burn. In other words, just eat less and exercise more, and the weight will drop. While this formula is partly true, in reality, it isn't enough to explain the complexity of the human body. Some people eat much less but still don't lose weight, while others can eat quite freely and still stay slim. The deeper reason lies in how the body regulates storing and burning energy, with the key player being the hormone insulin. Insulin and fat storage. Insulin is a hormone secreted by the pancreas. Its main role is to transport glucose from the blood into the cells to be used or stored. Under normal conditions, insulin helps keep blood sugar stable and ensures that the brain and muscles have enough energy to function. However, when insulin levels remain high, the body continuously shuttles energy into storage, meaning fat. Laboratory experiments illustrate this clearly. Fat cells grown in a calorie-rich environment without insulin remain small. Only when insulin is added do the fat cells swell and form larger fat droplets. This shows insulin is the switch that turns on fat storage. Clinical evidence supports this too. In type 1 diabetes, where insulin is lacking, the body cannot store fat effectively and weight loss occurs. But this is a dangerous medical condition, not a weight loss strategy, as it can lead to ketoacidosis and severe complications. So insulin not only regulates blood sugar, but also plays a central role in fat storage. Of course, body fat is also influenced by genetics, lifestyle, and other hormones. Scientific evidence on insulin. Many studies show that high insulin levels predict weight gain, obesity, and type 2 diabetes. For example, in Nature Metabolism, a meta-analysis showed that people with higher fasting insulin were more likely to gain weight in the future compared to those with lower insulin. Even when eating the same diet, clinical trials comparing low-carbohydrate diets to low-fat diets revealed significant differences in insulin response. Those who cut down on starches and fast-absorbing sugars, which spike insulin less, often lose weight more effectively and keep it off longer. This supports the idea that managing insulin is a powerful lever alongside overall energy balance. The dawn effect, also called the morning phenomenon, refers to natural rises in blood sugar and insulin in the early morning. This ties into circadian rhythm. Just before waking, the body releases cortisol to prepare for the day. Cortisol stimulates the liver to release glucose from glycogen, slightly raising blood sugar. Some people are less insulin sensitive in the morning due to this circadian pattern. Eating a high-carb breakfast immediately after waking can cause a sharper insulin spike. It may be better to choose foods wisely and adjust meal timing. Delaying breakfast slightly allows the body to use stored energy and prevents insulin from rising too high. Studies in diabetes care confirm that blood sugar and insulin after breakfast tend to be higher than after lunch or dinner, even with identical meals. However, the type of food and the overall eating pattern throughout the day determine long-term weight control. Cortisol, leptin, and ghrelin. Cortisol peaks in the morning and not only raises blood sugar, but also increases hunger by stimulating neuropeptide Y and AGRP, which drive cravings for carbs. At the same time, cortisol suppresses leptin, the satiety hormone. Another hormone, ghrelin, known as the hunger hormone, also peaks in the morning, further intensifying appetite. When cortisol, ghrelin, and reduced insulin sensitivity coincide, a breakfast high in refined carbs can easily promote fat storage. Unfortunately, many modern breakfast choices, pastries, white bread, sugary cereals, spike insulin and don't keep us full for long. In contrast, a balanced breakfast with protein, healthy fats, and fiber helps keep insulin stable, provides lasting satiety, and sustains energy. For example, instead of white bread and orange juice, a meal of eggs, greens, and avocado is far friendlier to metabolism. Practical implications. Insulin is not just a blood sugar regulator, but the gatekeeper deciding whether energy is burned or stored. Understanding how insulin works throughout the day, especially in the morning, is key to building healthy eating habits. Coffee and insulin. Coffee is part of millions of morning routines, but caffeine can affect insulin in surprising ways. Research shows that when caffeine is combined with carbohydrates, the body has to release more insulin to process the same amount of glucose. In other words, drinking sweet coffee with pastries or refined carbs can spike insulin far more than carbs alone. This is because caffeine temporarily reduces insulin sensitivity, especially when paired with sugar. The solution isn't to quit coffee altogether, but to use it wisely. Drink black coffee without sugar or have it later in the day after cortisol has dropped. Pairing coffee with protein or healthy fats instead of carbs helps stabilize blood sugar. Sleep, stress, and insulin. Sleep and stress strongly influence insulin. Lack of sleep acts like stress, raising cortisol. High morning cortisol increases blood sugar and hunger, particularly for sweets, while also lowering leptin and raising ghrelin, making overeating more likely. A study in Annals of Internal Medicine showed that just a few nights of sleep deprivation can cut insulin sensitivity by about 20%, pushing the body toward a pre-diabetic state in only a week. Conversely, sleeping 7 to 8 hours improves insulin function and hunger control. Chronic psychological stress has a similar negative impact. Stress management techniques like meditation, yoga, walking outdoors, or deep breathing not only help mentally, but also support insulin control. Dietary strategies, low-carbohydrate, ketogenic diets, reduce starch and sugar, increase protein and healthy fats. This lowers insulin fluctuations and promotes fat burning. Effective for weight loss and blood sugar control, though not ideal long-term if overly strict. Intermittent fasting allows insulin to stay low for longer periods. Studies in cell metabolism show it improves insulin sensitivity and supports weight loss, depending on meal timing and food choices. Mediterranean diet emphasizes whole foods, vegetables, fruits, whole grains, olive oil, and fish. Not very carb restrictive, but stabilizes insulin thanks to unprocessed foods. Proven to reduce weight gain, cardiovascular risk, and type 2 diabetes. Despite differences, the common theme is to avoid refined carbs and sugar and eat in sync with circadian rhythm to prevent abnormal insulin spikes. Meal timing. Don't feel forced to eat immediately after waking, but avoid cramming calories late at night. Having main meals during the day, especially breakfast and lunch, supports insulin and weight control. Breakfast choices. Prioritize protein, eggs, Greek yogurt, or tofu, healthy fats like avocado, nuts, and fiber like vegetables and whole grains. Limit sugar and pastries. Coffee. Drink after a light meal or mid-morning. Avoid combining coffee with sweets. Sleep. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep nightly. Stress management. Use meditation, yoga, or simple walks to reduce cortisol. Light morning activity. Walking, stretching, or breathing exercises help the body use stored energy instead of storing more fat. Major studies, e.g. BMJ and Nature Metabolism, confirm that lowering insulin via diet and lifestyle can aid weight loss, improve blood sugar, and even reverse type 2 diabetes in some cases. Conclusion. The insulin trick isn't a magic instant weight loss hack, but part of a scientific, long-term health strategy. By understanding insulin and adjusting morning habits, we can reduce unnecessary insulin spikes and support sustainable weight and health management. Key factors include choosing the right foods, adjusting meal timing, getting enough sleep, reducing stress, and using coffee wisely. Small changes combined can make a big difference. In the weight loss journey, it's not only about eating less and exercising more, but also about creating a hormone environment that favors fat burning instead of fat storage. The insulin approach is a helpful tool within the bigger picture of diet, sleep, activity, and stress management. Taking care of health is a long journey where every small habit matters. If you found this video useful, please like, subscribe to Healthy and Long Life, and hit the bell to stay updated with reliable science-based tips. This content is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for personal medical advice. People taking medication, especially insulin or blood sugar lowering drugs, as well as pregnant or breastfeeding women and those with chronic conditions, should consult their doctor before changing diet or eating patterns.